Hey everybody, welcome back, and tonight we're going to be starting a new segment on this channel called A Taste of Manga. Now what this segment is going to be in the future, hopefully, is me going over mostly the first volume of manga or covering like very, very short manga. I don't want to do like super long series reviews, and it would range from, I'm going to try not to cover anything past like the first half of a manga that's like decently long. The reason why I'm cheating with this parameter, because I'm going to be honest with you, the one we're going to start to talk about tonight is The Flowers of Evil, or Aku no Hana. And I would have just done like the first omnibus that I had, but I kind of had to read both because I'm really liking this manga a lot. But I have not read anything past these first two omnibuses, which covers volumes 1 through 6 of the original material, which I believe is in total 11 volumes. Yeah, so Flowers of Evil came out a couple years back, and in this video I'm just going to be talking about pretty much what happens in these first two omnibuses, so the first 6 volumes, and what I kind of thought about it. As I've said before, I'm not the biggest manga guy in the world, but I want to... I don't want to evolve into like that person that's like, oh, the manga is always better. Manga is so much better. I don't want to, turn into that higher echelon. I still like anime, and I appreciate manga. I want to appreciate manga more, and hopefully by reading more and talking about it more, I'll get that. And hopefully I could talk about some manga that you haven't heard of before, and then you could check out yourself. But Flowers of Evil, it's pretty damn good. It's basically about this dude named Kasuga, and he is living in this sort of like mundane town. It's based upon like a real town in Japan that the author actually grew up in, Shuzo Oshimi. And he kind of lives this like mundane, boring life. He's really into literature. He reads there's a French, I think it's either a novella or it's like a group of poems called The Flowers of Evil, which is where the manga gets its name. And he's kind of just like, your early teens guy, anime manga character, where he kind of doesn't know what direction he's going to be going in life. He tries his best at school and stuff like that. He tries his best with his parents, but at times he doesn't feel like anybody understands him. And, your typical kind of teenager kid. And he is deeply in love with this goody-goody girl in his class named Psyche. And Psyche is, like, class president and, best grades, and she's really good-looking, and she's, Captain or Miss Perfect. It's hard to... ignore like how like stereotypical like the beginning of this manga sounds until they introduce this character. Her name is Nakamura, and she is one of the more memorable characters I've ever come across in anime or manga. She's a student in their class, and she sits right behind the main guy. And she is very foul-mouthed and just, like, looks down upon everybody else in the world. And she's just a real, like, outcast. She doesn't have any friends. She swears at people all the time. In fact, I'm pretty sure it's her first, like, dialogue in here is that she calls her teacher a shitbug. And she refers to pretty much everybody as shitbugs and, like, scum and tells them to fuck off. And, like, it's just really interesting to hear that out of a, like, teenage Japanese high school girl. There's like a stark contrast between the two like main girls of this story, being Nakamura, who's like foul-mouthed and doesn't give a fuck about anything, and Sayaki, who's sort of the goody-goody two-shoes. And the core of what this manga is about is perversion and coming to grips with like who you really are. And I don't want to push people off by saying, like, perversion, but the author actually gives a really cool... there's cool author notes if you get this omnibus version. I don't know if they're in the original, but after Chapter 6, he talks about, like, What's a pervert really? The idea of a pervert has an aspect of shoving things we don't understand in a box so we can feel better about ourselves. But the truth is that, more or less, every human has some perversion hidden away in their hearts. I'd be perfectly happy to have people read this manga and just think, ew, what a pervert. But if anybody stops even for a moment to wonder, what does perversion mean to me? Then I'm really glad that I've created this work. And I think that's a good sort of summary of what the characters kind of have to go through and what you go through as a reader. Because what seems like this typical kind of high school story quickly spirals out of control. So basically what happens is the main guy, I keep forgetting Kasuga, he's kind of generic at the beginning. And honestly, the other characters are way more interesting than him, which is sort of a problem that I have. Kasuga, he's really in love with Saeki, the perfect goody-goody girl. And one day she leaves her clothes behind at school. Her like gym clothes, and which include like panties and stuff. And he is like alone in the classroom, and he could grab this bag and go give it to her. And he's thinking this would be a cool gateway for me to actually talk to her. But he gets like, the devil on the other side in his head that says, oh man, you should just totally take this. And, it seems kind of nuts, but I guess he's a teenage guy. And I guess what I do like about him, and what I like most about how he's written, is he is not the good main character. He is very, very human, and he gives into the temptation, and he takes Saeki's clothes. And and he takes him home, and he like sniffs him and stuff, and it's kind of weird, but it's he's this teenage dude who has a bunch of hormones going on, and he's kind of going nuts with it, and he took this opportunity and kind of walked down the shitty road. And but what he didn't know was that someone in their class saw what he did, that being Nakamura, the foul-mouthed girl. And she basically blackmails him into essentially kind of like hanging out with her, but more so that she wants to shed, as she puts it, shed him of his like fake skin. She wants to uncover the pervert that is within him, the shitty person that's within him that nobody else really sees. She wants to see the truth in people. And I find that she's obviously like a psychopath, but I like that quality of her character, because I feel like even in reality, people hide behind masks and stuff like that, and people lie to each other all the time. You don't really know how a person is. Most people are. And she's really digging down deep into what Kasuga, and who Kasuga is. By blackmailing him, by being a shitty person, but she's getting that as the end game. And, Kasuga kind of has to deal with it, and he's kind of a wuss for a lot of these first 6 volumes. But eventually the situation comes to Nakamura kind of uses him like a puppet, and to actually talk to Saeki more, forcing him into these awkward situations. She makes him put on the underwear under his clothes, like her gym outfit, like under his clothes, and like have a full conversation with Saeki, the girl that he's in love with. And it's just like super cringy, super awkward, but for some reason I really liked it. Interestingly enough, Saeki actually develops feelings for Kasuga. She doesn't see what a shitty person he is, and obviously doesn't realize what he really did. And is more so into this facade that he's this misunderstood guy who, reads a lot of weird literature. And she's like, oh, he's so interesting. Oh, and no one ever talks about books like he does. Which, by the way, I feel like no girl has ever said that, nor will say that. So if you're expecting somebody, I mean, maybe, all right, wait, this isn't like a dating channel. All right. But yeah, that part seemed kind of unrealistic. But yeah, so she develops feelings for him, and that complicates things even more. So now you have to balance that relationship, which should be his like ideal situation, but it's really fucked up because he's got to hide the fact that he's a pervert and he took her clothes, and then he also has to deal with Nakamura's crazy ass, who's fucking nuts. And she's playing him like a puppet this whole time, and she is loving everything that's going on and just manipulating everything in the background. I won't spoil any more than that, but there's more that they cover in these first 6 volumes, but I highly recommend that you check out Akunohana, or The Flowers of Evil. And in terms of artwork, it is really good. This is by far my favorite manga artist so far. I mean, just look at I like how some people were drawn and stuff. And it's just I don't know. I like the detail of it. It's not too much. It's not too little. It's not like an action-y manga, so you're not gonna get big explosions really or anything. But it's more so about just how the characters are designed, how they interact with each other, and stuff like that. And if you've ever heard of the manga Happiness, Shuzo Oshimi is also the mangaka for that one. And I read that before. I started reading that before this, and this was his more famous work. And I'm really glad that I picked this up. But I kind of fucked up here, because I could have just read all of the normal volumes, but at Anime Boston, they were selling these 2 omnibus ones, and I like omnibus format, so I bought them both. But unfortunately, they haven't come out with all of these yet in English, at least for a couple months. So now I kind of have to wait for the other ones to come out, when I should have just bought all of the normal manga and I could just be done with it, because I kind of really want to know what's going on. But hey, maybe it's a blessing in disguise, because now I'm going to be able to talk more manga. And if you guys have read The Flowers of Evil, please let me know about it. I know there's an anime adaptation as well, but it does not cover the entire manga. And I don't even think it covers as much as I've read so far. And they rotoscoped with the animation. So generally it kind of has a bad reception. I have not watched it myself. I kind of don't really plan on it. But I highly, highly recommend that you read The Flowers of Evil. Check it out in whatever format that you want to read it in. I'm not going to judge, whatever. Just read it. Just read Flowers of Evil. And if you have, let me know what you thought of it down below. And, let me know what are some, maybe volume 1 or early on, maybe a couple volumes of manga that you want me to talk about on this channel. But I prefer just volume 1s. Kind of cheated with this one. And there'll be probably more that I cheat on in the future. But, yeah. And let me know what you think of this new segment. Hopefully this can become a semi-regular thing. Yeah. As always, guys, this is Miasma from Gyre Media, signing out. Thanks for watching.